user, telling the browser to save that cookie. Okay. Now, how that Facebook can tell the browser that, okay, these are the cookies that you need to kind of save to your browser. So that is where this field comes into picture, which is the set cookie field. So this set cookie field is nothing but like this header tells the client to use the cookie provided and save that as a temporary measure to the web browser. So what will happen once this cookie has been set? So next time when the user is trying to visit facebook.com, he or she doesn't need to enter the username and password. What they can do is that the browser will automatically read that cookie, which was set earlier, and it will send that to the Facebook. And once Facebook verified that, okay, the cookie is valid, then it will allow the user to utilize the facebook.com even without entering the username and password. Okay. So this is where the set cookie field is pretty much required. And now kind of let's see if that has been captured somewhere in the Browser tool, the lab that we are trying to follow up on. Okay. So let me just quickly go to over here, and since there's some issues. So this one doesn't have that, and I think there's some issues with the Browser. I think this section is not responding right now. The only section that is responding over here is this one. But I hope you got an idea, like if I just go over here and just say set cookie header. This is how the headers look like. Okay, so this is how the web server will actually have a header known as set cookie, and then it will have the cookie values. Okay, over here, like a lot of cookies will be there, and it will depend upon what kind of, and it will all be depending upon the web server user, like the person who is managing the web server, what kind of cookie they want to set in your browser. And one of the things that you should know is that these cookies are always in plain text. They can't be executed on the browser. It's always in plain text that is saved by the browser. And what it will have, there are a few fields that this cookie will have, is the domain. The first thing, domain, like domain will be like, let's say facebook.com. When that cookie will expire, let's say after 3 days the cookie will expire. HTTP only flag. So this will tell so all these fields have a different meaning. HTTP only means that, okay, that cookie will only be transferred on HTTP website, and if if it is something like secure, that cookie will only be transferred over HTTPS website. So we'll look those things later, but right now our concern is that this set cookie field is we should know that, okay, this field is being used by the web server to kind of store the cookie at the browser end. Okay, and if I would have been able to showcase that to you, I would have done that, but I think it's not responding. But this is, I hope you got an idea what this set cookie does. And one of the things where, again, it will be kind of really useful is that cookies are also used for different kind of scenarios. So I will be kind of sharing one investigation where the set cookie field was really useful. So one of the things that attacker normally does is that what they do is, let's say I, as a normal user, visited facebook.com, and the facebook.com gave me a certain cookies file, and that cookies file was saved in my browser. Okay. Now what the attacker can do, or maybe the malware on the system, they can actually read the cookies. They can actually read the cookies that is saved in my browser. Okay, read the cookies and send that cookie to their own C2 URL, to their own command and control web server. Okay, and once that's done, what the attacker can do is that they can utilize the same cookies over here. Okay, and they can configure their browser. To save that cookie. They can save that cookie in their own browser. Okay, and next time when this attacker visits facebook.com, what will happen is that the attacker doesn't need to enter the username and password, and they will be automatically get logged in to your Facebook profile. Okay. So thing is that this set cookie header can be kind of, so one of the thing where one of the thing where like there are a lot of investigation where I have utilized the cookie header is where like there were certain scenarios where the attacker has actually, there's a red team incident, actually the red team incident where uh, the red team guys actually stole a cookie for one of the website of one of the client website, one of the cookies. The cookies were for the EDR logs. So there was a specific EDR website, let's say of Crown Black, and the attacker and the red team was actually able to kind of let's say stole the cookies once the user, let's say once the user has authenticated to the EDR portal. What the attacker did was they stole the cookie, and then the attacker actually had logged into the EDR portal on my behalf from their own computer. Okay. Now, how this cookie was helpful, because what happened is that in normal case, when a user, let's say, visits the EDR portal in the incident that I handle, they need to enter the username. They need to enter username. They need to enter the password. They also need to enter the OTP value. Okay, the multi-factor authentication. Okay, once all these checks are done, once all these checks are done, then only that portal was actually sending out the cookies value, the actual valid cookies value. Once all these multi-factor authentications were checked. So this is one factor authentication, and again validating the login with the OTP, it's a two-factor authentication. Okay, so once that was done, the EDR portal was actually sending out the cookies. And what the attacker did was that attacker was knowing that they won't be able to not be able to evade the multi-factor authentication, because they don't know the username and password. They also don't know the OTP. So what they did was they just patiently waited for the user to complete the multi-factor authentication, and once the cookies were saved, they just stole the cookies. Okay, they just stole the cookies, and once they stole the cookies, what they did is the same thing. They just they told their browser that okay, save this cookie, and the next time when they visited that EDR portal, the EDR portal didn't requested them. They didn't requested them neither the username nor the password or nor the OTP. They were totally quickly they were able to log into that EDR log just by using that cookie. Okay, so that's where like thing is that using those let's say attacker, you got a proxy log. So using that cookies value, you can figure out okay, somehow you can figure out if that cookie was stolen by that attacker, what kind of cookies were stolen by the attacker. So let's say I am a user, and I got a cookie, let's say a equal to 5. Okay, and I in the proxy log, I will have user A with cookie a equal to 5. Okay, and now let's say the attacker also utilize the same cookie. So in the proxy log, in the log file of the web server, log, it will have okay that a user B actually visited the portal and the cookie value was same. Let's say a equal to 5. Okay, so by correlating the proxy log and the web server log, okay, and the reason why I told proxy log and web server log is that proxy log will be something like, let's say the user is inside the company network, and that's where this thing got logged out in the proxy log. But when the user is outside of the company network, then most probably that log file that containing that cookie will not be in the proxy log. It will be most probably in the web server log. Okay, and that's where we were able to figure out that the cookie value is same for this user B and this user A, and then we were quickly able to know which user had that malware or which user had that cookie getting stolen. Okay, so this is how using the cookie header you can actually do very complicated kind of like investigation and quickly figure out like what are the impacted user and what are the users who need a full cookie reset as well as the full credential reset. Okay, including the reset of their machines if there's a malware running in that. Okay, so I hope